Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys. I'm going to sip of my water first. My daily dose of aspartame. That's almost its own topic. Yes, I have videos coming on that in the future. A lot of people do not understand what the research is on that. But I'll talk to you guys about something kind of serious. Yes, I didn't shave today or yesterday. I need to shave. Got that salt and pepper coming in. My beard is over 50% gray at this point. I am 47 now, by the way. All right, let's get serious here. A lot of experiences I've had lately checking out groups, a little bit of interaction, looking at what's going on in the fitness community online. I've realized how bad things have gotten, and that's because I frequent so many circles of people with such large bodies of knowledge that I assume basic things are understood. For example, I just make the assumption, and nobody believes in the insulin obesity hypothesis in 2023. Come on. That's been so ridiculously debunked. No one believes that. Like, no one thinks we're gaining subcutaneous fat from carbohydrates, right? Nobody actually thinks that. Of course nobody thinks that. This is 2023. It's unbelievable. It's debunked. Been debunked in the lab. All sorts of testing at this point. Nobody actually believes that, right? Well, apparently they do. And I think this is how stuff like the carnivore diet has gained popularity. There's such an enormous, absolutely enormous disconnect between people in the different circles who know about this stuff, who do this full time, they coach, or they're surrounded by these circles of people. We just assume, I think, that it's common knowledge. Of course everyone knows that you have to have vegetables and dry. Of course everyone knows that fiber is almost an essential nutrient. In fact, there are experts and researchers who are trying to get fiber to be classified as an essential nutrient. You know, like you'll hear people say, there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate, blah, blah, blah. Well, technically fiber should be classified. If we look at the definitions of essential nutrients for our species, fiber actually would qualify, and it would be an essential carbohydrate, okay? And that really, when you look at the body of medical literature, that's not even a controversial statement. Again, a lot of experts are wanting to have it classified that way. You're seeing a lot of the leading people in the fitness world are telling you this, along with medical doctors. There are medical doctors and the experts who are looking at all these diseases who are saying most people, particularly in the West, need to consume a lot more fiber. Okay? Go into the best experts with advanced degrees in the bodybuilding world, literally telling people when getting them ready for contests, fiber intake will help keep your metabolism higher while you're losing body fat. Telling them that carbohydrates will as well, which again makes sense, right? That you should actually have your carbohydrates as high as you can get away with. There's a point where additional protein is purely about burning body fat in certain cases from the thermic effect and other stuff, but it's not going to help you retain muscle better beyond a very relatively low threshold. Okay, carbohydrates will after that point, due to, again, the insulin response, because the insulin will help preserve muscle tissue, doesn't help preserve fat tissue, not in metabolically healthy people, not lean people trying to get ripped. Like, they're not insulin resistant. This is not an issue. In fact, they need to be jacking their insulin levels up as much as they possibly can in the context of people who have a high sensitivity, right? It will help their body composition as they start to get really lean. This is all understood. But then you step out into this other world, oh, vegetables bad. Because they don't know anything about nutrition. And then a few charlatans are able to step in and convince these masses of people All right, like the Sean Baker guy, absolute charlatan, absolutely evil. Brings in some goofball quack like Jordan Peterson, talking about his, and by the way, I don't buy into some of the story there. That this is really the only way you can save your dog. Yeah, no. Call the guy a bullshit artist, straight up. Who are pushing this thing that all the other experts and doctors and researchers are saying, this is stupid and dangerous. Okay? Not even about the fat intake at that point. It's you need the vegetables, you need the fiber, you need the phytonutrients. You have to have this stuff. But there's such an enormous disconnect. There's absolutely an enormous disconnect between people who do this and versus these people. And it's been that way a long time. It's not like this is even new. As far as things like carbohydrate intake, this is not new. Guys, I'm old, and when I was in my early 20s, over 20 years ago, John Perillo was over here getting bodybuilders shredded on 800 grams of carb or more a day. He was putting them on bodybuilding stages, and they were winning. Okay? Do we understand this? You get into the rest of the sports world and this discussion of how do we get enough carbohydrate in our athletes if they're not blessed with certain genes like Ethiopians and Kenyans with small calves and stuff. How do we get them across the finish line? How do we get enough carbohydrate in them to keep their running speeds up for the ultra marathon with the limits of the GI tract? Okay. This is what's happening in the rest of the sports and fitness world and the serious end. And then you step back and there's this whole clown show of fucking stupidity. And when you jump into some of these groups and you see the knowledge that people are trying to regurgitate, they don't know basic. They don't even know basic stuff about that there's an optimal salt intake. Okay? They're unaware that you actually have to have some salt to survive. They're unaware that there's an optimal intake range for your health, for blood pressure. Just like, oh yeah, I read you're supposed to just avoid salt, and that's all they know. I heard salt's a carcinogen. So sodium chloride's a carcinogen. Like, this is what you're seeing, and people will tell you this stuff in these groups. I had someone tell me in one of these groups that sodium chloride's an endocrine disruptor that can cause obesity. They just made that up. Because they saw in the list of preservatives and they're associated, all preservatives must be endocrine disruptors. Like, the level of misinformation is so bad out there. What do we do about it? All we can do is put out good information. That's all any of us can do, is to do our best. And I think that we can do that. And this is another reason I'm stepping back saying, I don't know that I want to deal with any of this stupid, petty fighting right now. I try to correct some rights and stuff and other things, and I'm realizing this isn't helping anybody. It's not working. What we need to do is correct ignorance. We need to help our fellow human beings, those of us who know a little bit. We need to be helping people. We need to be directing them to good information, to useful information, things that will help them. And we need to be knocking down stuff that is clearly, obviously bad information, like this carnivore diet. That should be, right now, that should be the number one priority in nutrition information everyone's putting out. Okay. I think that should be the number one. This has to be knocked down. We need to highlight the importance of vegetables, the importance of fiber. That cannot be overstated. I don't care if that makes the vegan community grow, even though I don't believe in veganism. I would rather see that grow than this nonsense continue. Okay? And I want to be clear, I'm not giving up dairy. I think dairy is a superfood for athletes. Sorry, vegans. But at least they get the part right that you need to be eating large amounts of plants. That's the general scientific consensus. They're correct on that. All of us could stand to eat more plants, more vegetables. Almost every one of us without fail. Okay. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.